Starter with a new friend of the show, Shemaine Nugent. She's not just wife of Uncle Ted Nugent. She's a documentary filmmaker in her own right. We're going to talk about that in a minute. And she joins us live this morning. Good morning.
Good
Welcome.
morning.
Hey, Ed and Karen, thanks for having me. It's great to share an American sunrise with you.
Well, that's so sweet.
Oh, thank
You
you.
got to tell Ted. We have this great promo, and he said, you got to watch America's sunrise. You got it right. You said American sunrise, and that's why you're the one that holds this whole operation together, clearly.
I do. And not, I mean, I've learned so much from Ted, whether it's about
Yeah.
hunting or politics, really. He, from the get-go, we've been married now 33 years, and I've seen him in the face of, everybody telling him, Ted, when you do an interview about your new record, don't talk about politics, don't talk about hunting, don't talk about the Second Amendment. And he's done it anyway. And, now I think we were born for such a time as this. I am starting to speak out more and more about this, even though I've been canceled on Twitter. And get this, I am permanently suspended on Twitter, but Ted is not. What does that tell you?
Oh, that's incredible. I love that. Nothing better than an outspoken woman. And you quoted Queen Esther in there, Esther 414, which is for such a time as this. Another
Yes.
amazing woman who went out there and wasn't stopped and did what was right and fought. And you've been fighting. Your house was consumed by toxic mold. This had to do with this documentary you did. There's a lot of layers here to unpeel.
Yeah, why don't you tell us about the documentary?
Well, our home that was once featured on MTV Cribs was contaminated with toxic mold. We never saw anything. It was between the walls. We just kept getting sicker and sicker. And no doctors could help me. I had debilitating migraines. Both Ted and I and our son Rocco were getting sicker and sicker. I was diagnosed with having pre-emphysema. And I ended up becoming my own investigative sleuth and discovering that it was in fact toxic mold. Now, why this is important right now is because obviously of the hurricane. There's so much devastation in the Naples, Florida and Southwest Florida area. And my heart just goes out to these people who have lost everything, but they have got to get rid of anything that has been water damaged.
Yeah, I've
Amazing.
heard about that.
Yeah,
like
I have heard about it too. It's scary down here in Florida, especially.
Yeah, because
Yep.
once these condos, these high rises were hit in particular, and then the power went out in Naples and Fort Myers with the Florida heat, that mold is going to come in pretty quickly before they get the power going again. And I heard that a lot of these high rise condo buildings could be condemned because of the mold you speak of. In other cases, they may try to cover it up, or they may look the other way, or they may not
Yes.
even know about it, and there could be deadly consequences. So tell us where people talk about that, but tell us where people can find the documentary.
Well, do you know the term she shed? I have a
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a she shed in Naples, so I am very well aware of everything that's gone on there. I have a condo in a high rise, and I have seen so much devastation and destruction. The problem is if you have a porous substance, a lack of ventilation, and water infiltration for about 72 hours, you will have toxic mold. You got to get rid of it because one mold spore is 1/100th the size of human hair. Its natural defense mechanism is to propagate a million times. And it's a slow killer. It starts with headaches and joint pain and fibromyalgia and insomnia. And yeah, we've got to get this settled, and we've got to get these homes remediated properly, or there will be long-term health consequences.
No doubt about it. Well, I'm glad you're shining a light on that. We're proud to talk about it
Absolutely.
and look forward to having you back. But I want to talk about the Second Amendment. There's a story out of Philadelphia. We talk every day about all the crime there, and the bad guys have the guns, and they want to take the guns away from the good people like yourself, who, as a law-abiding Second Amendment supporter. And this story was 3 Philadelphia police SWAT officers, I believe it was yesterday, were shot while serving a homicide warrant at a home. This was early Wednesday. Yeah, 19-year-old inside that home was killed in the exchange of gunfire. And your heart goes out as well, not just to that young person. We don't know the circumstance, but the officers who are law enforcement, who do such a great job. They've been vilified by the left, who want to cancel them, defund the police, and they want to take away our Second Amendment rights when there are people like yourself who are law-abiding, and then you go, whether it's Philly or Chicago with these gun control laws, the bad guys get the guns, and the good people, the law-abiding, they don't have the guns to protect themselves.
Well, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to see that if you take away the guns from the good guys, only the bad guys will have guns. And here we have John Fetterman, who wants to get more violent felons released from prison. Meanwhile, you have somebody who's not violent, like Dr. Simone Gold, imprisoned. I mean, the Democrats just seem clueless about all of this.
It's more than clueless. They're vindictive. Look at what they're doing. Look at the warrant on Mar-a-Lago. All of these things that add up, and we have this two-tier justice system that just seems to really just set a precedence that this is okay, that we can bash conservatives. Hey, we can throw them in jail, and it continues and continues.
And Hunter Biden runs free.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense at all. And meanwhile, we have COVID, and it's interesting that nobody's going after the root causes of what that is. Meanwhile, the puppy torturer in chief, Dr. Fauci, just sent another boatload of money to the Wuhan lab. I don't get it. I don't understand it. And people need to wake up. People need to understand what's going on. And not only do we have to vote, but we've got to have eyes on the voting process, because we know that there were things that were shady going on the last election. We can't let that happen again.
Absolutely.
We can't.
In the last minute we have, tell us what we don't know about Uncle Ted.
He's a softie, especially when it comes to our pets. We have two Labradors. One's a mutt, a rescue. He had ticks and mange when we got him. And we have a purebred lab named Sadie, and then we have a deaf German Shepherd named Coco. Now Sadie she's got Ted wrapped around her little finger, and he calls her Miss America, just I think so that he can say that he sleeps with Miss America every night.
Well, I call my dog a beauty queen too, so we have that in common.
There's so many thoughts. I have so many potential reactions, and I'm just not going to say them. But I think you're terrific, and we appreciate you coming on.
Thank you.
And we hope that we hope that Uncle Ted will be here tomorrow. We even have an ad for it, so you better show up. You got to get him out of bed with that dog. American Sunrise, you see it right there. Ted Nugent, Friday free for all tomorrow. 9:45 a.m. Eastern. Last week, in all seriousness, he couldn't make it because I think you guys were involved with a big charity. Why don't you mention that charity on the way out?
Well, we do so many charities. There's so many great things that are happening right now, whether it's, Unbound that is helping human rescuing, adaptiveops.org. There's a lot of military charities that we're involved in. And I got to tell you, the other thing that I will say about my husband, he never takes a day off. And if he has a day off, he will spend it with so many different charities, wounded soldiers and children who are just unfortunately on their dying days, and they just want to go hunting and spend a campfire with us and with our dogs. It's just, he's an amazing individual who has a big, caring heart.
That's beautiful. That's amazing. I wouldn't expect any less from Uncle Ted.
Absolutely. I hope that we can have you on Thursdays. Let's forget about him. He's great and all, but if people already know about him, let's do a special Spirit Campfire look with you. I know you're co-host on the outdoor channel of Spirit of the Wild, which we had on the screen. So the outdoor channel, Spirit of the Wild. But Spirit Campfire right here, Friday nights at 10, and then I'm sure it gets some airings on the weekends. Check it out on our app. Shemaine Nugent, we appreciate it. We'll have you back next week if you'll come.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much for having me.
All right, great fun. That was awesome.
Thank you. It's amazing. She's great.